When we think about how men perceive women, there's something remarkable at play, something that isn't always visible to the naked eye, but speaks volumes about how we connect with one another. Often the first thing a man notices about a woman is not her appearance or her clothes. No, it's the way she carries herself, the energy, the confidence, the presence. You see, humans are wired to sense authenticity. It's something we can't easily put into words, but it's felt in the way a person moves, speaks, and engages. The first thing a man will notice is whether a woman owns the space she occupies. Is she comfortable in her skin? Does she exude a quiet power, one that isn't about dominance, but about being fully present and unapologetically herself? Authenticity is not just a buzzword or something we hear in self-help books. It's the very essence of what makes us human and connected. When we talk about authenticity, we're referring to the ability to show up in the world, not as a polished or perfect version of ourselves, but as we truly are, flaws, strengths, quirks, and all. For women especially, authenticity can sometimes feel like a delicate balancing act. Society, culture, and media often present a narrow view of what it means to be valuable, lovable, or worthy of attention. These pressures encourage women to curate their lives, their identities, and even their feelings to fit into a box. But when we step outside of those constraints and allow ourselves to be seen as we are, we create a connection that transcends superficiality. When a woman is truly authentic, she radiates a kind of energy that is magnetic. It's not about trying to meet external expectations or perform a version of herself for others. Instead, it's about the freedom to embrace her own truth. This authenticity doesn't just show up in how she acts or how she looks. It's in the subtle way she speaks her truth, the way she handles vulnerability, and the way she interacts with others without the need to perform. Men, whether they consciously recognize it or not, are drawn to this authenticity. They notice when a woman is not pretending to be someone else to fit in or to gain approval. That creates space for her to be herself. There's a quiet power in authenticity, a sense of integrity and inner strength that leaves a lasting impact. When a woman feels safe enough to stand in her own truth, it not only empowers her, but also invites others to do the same. But authenticity also requires courage. It's not always easy to show up as we are, especially in a world that often encourages perfection. Yet, when a woman chooses to embrace her true self, whether it's in moments of joy or moments of struggle, it opens a door to deeper, more meaningful connections. She is no longer hiding behind a mask, and that rawness is something that others can't help but notice. Authenticity creates a ripple effect. It inspires others to drop their facades and begin showing up as their true selves. And in doing so, it creates an environment where relationships, whether romantic, platonic, or professional, are built on the foundation of trust and mutual respect. While society often places significant emphasis on physical appearance, the truth is that it is a person's energy, especially a woman's energy, that has the most lasting impact. Energy speaks louder than any outward display. It's the invisible force that draws people in, creates an atmosphere of warmth, connection, and curiosity. When we talk about energy, we're talking about the subtle but powerful cues that aren't always visible, but can be felt by everyone around us. A woman's energy is about how she moves through the world, her presence, her vibe, her emotional state, and how she interacts with others. It's in her tone of voice, her body language, the confidence in her posture, and the way she listens or engages in conversation. A woman who embodies positive energy often attracts attention, not because of her clothes or makeup, but because of the depth of her presence. Men often notice this first, the way a woman carries herself, how she enters a room, and the energy she radiates is noticed far more than any external decoration. For instance, a woman who is genuinely comfortable with herself, who is confident without arrogance, who is calm without being distant, has an undeniable effect on those around her. She may not have the most striking physical features, but her energy is compelling. It creates an atmosphere of openness, intrigue, and connection. This energy is deeply rooted in self-assurance. It's the result of a woman feeling secure enough in who she is that she doesn't need to prove herself to anyone. It's the quiet knowing that she doesn't need validation to feel worthy or valuable. This type of energy isn't about being loud or outgoing. Instead, it's about being grounded and present, allowing herself to take up space without apology. And that in turn draws others in, regardless of how they look. Appearance, on the other hand, is often fleeting. We might admire someone's looks at first sight, but what keeps us coming back, what builds a lasting impression, is the energy they give off. A woman who has the energy of kindness, curiosity, and warmth leaves a far deeper mark than one who simply adheres to conventional standards of beauty. Her physical traits may catch a glance, but it's her energy that sustains interest and fosters connection. Moreover, a woman's energy is not just about positive attributes, it's about being real. When a woman allows her full emotional range to shine, expressing joy, excitement, or even vulnerability, it adds an authentic dimension to her energy. It's this realness that makes her more relatable, approachable, and ultimately magnetic. People want to be around those who are genuine, who are not trying to hide or present an idealized version of themselves. The truth is, energy is contagious. If a woman's energy is open, confident, and inviting, it gives others permission to relax, be themselves, and share in that same authenticity. It creates a bond that goes beyond surface-level appearances. Whether in a work meeting, social gathering, or romantic setting, a woman who leads with positive energy has the power to shape the dynamic and establish deeper connections. In fact, energy and appearance often complement one another. A woman who radiates good energy will naturally shine through, regardless of how she dresses. Her energy will add life to her appearance, making her look even more radiant. While a woman may carefully curate her look, it's her inner energy that truly defines how she is perceived and remembered. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness in our world, a concept to be avoided, a part of ourselves to hide or protect. Yet in truth, vulnerability is one of the most powerful and transformative traits a person can embody. For women especially, learning to embrace vulnerability and show up in its full form is an act of extraordinary courage and strength. When a woman is comfortable in her vulnerability, she becomes more than just someone others notice. She becomes someone they are deeply drawn to. Vulnerability is not about weakness or giving into fear. Instead, it's about choosing to show up authentically, despite the risks. It's about letting go of the protective armor we often build to shield ourselves from rejection, judgment, or failure. In its most powerful form, vulnerability is the courage to be seen, to be known for who we truly are, without the fear of being misunderstood or judged. A woman who is comfortable in her vulnerability is not afraid to share her emotions, to express her fears, her hopes, and her dreams. She doesn't feel the need to put on a facade or wear a mask of perfection to fit in or to be accepted. Instead, she is open to the possibility of both joy and pain, knowing that it is through these moments of openness that true connection is formed. Men in particular often find themselves deeply attracted to this type of woman, not because she is perfect or invulnerable, but because she is real. A woman who can laugh at herself, who isn't afraid to share her uncertainties, who is willing to take emotional risks. leaves an impression that is lasting and profound. This kind of woman invites others to do the same, to let down their guard, to be real, and to connect in ways that are meaningful and transformative. But there's something else about vulnerability that is worth noting. When a woman is at ease with her vulnerability, she exudes a quiet strength. It's a paradox, isn't it? On one hand, vulnerability is often associated with emotional openness and softness. But when a woman embraces it fully, she does not become weak or fragile. Rather, she becomes a force of nature. She is no longer bound by the need to appear strong or untouchable. Instead, she possesses a deep inner strength, the strength to be human, to experience life in all its rawness, and to rise from every challenge with grace. This comfort with vulnerability allows a woman to form deeper, more authentic relationships. In romantic partnerships, friendships, or work environments, it is the women who embrace vulnerability who inspire trust and loyalty. They show others that it's safe to let their guard down, to share their struggles, and to be seen for who they truly are. It's in this space of mutual vulnerability that connection deepens, where true intimacy is fostered, and where the foundations of genuine relationships are built. Moreover, vulnerability is contagious. When a woman allows herself to be vulnerable, she creates an environment in which others feel safe to do the same. There is a healing power in shared vulnerability, one that invites others to open up and share their own truths. In this way, a woman's willingness to be vulnerable has the power to transform not just her relationships, but entire communities. It encourages others to stop hiding their true selves and to start living with authenticity and courage. In our world, we often get caught up in the idea that strength comes from being invulnerable, holding everything inside, never showing weakness. But real strength comes from the ability to be vulnerable and still stand tall. A woman who embraces vulnerability in all its forms is not only showing the world that she is brave enough to be herself, but also teaching others how to do the same. She becomes a beacon of authenticity, a reminder that there is no shame in being real and human. Confidence is often viewed as an inherent trait, something you either have or you don't. But true confidence is much more than just a personality characteristic. It's a state of being, a feeling that radiates from within and touches everything you do. For women, the magnetism of confidence is especially powerful. It's not about being loud, overbearing, or trying to command attention. Instead, it's about an inner assurance that allows a woman to walk through the world with self-respect, poise, and a quiet strength that attracts others effortlessly. At its core, confidence is about being comfortable with who you are without the need for external validation or approval. It's about accepting yourself fully, including your strengths and flaws, your triumphs and failures. A confident woman does not strive for perfection. She embraces her humanity and stands firm in her authenticity. She knows her worth, not because the world tells her, but because she believes it for herself. The magnetism of confidence lies in this self-assurance. When a woman is confident, she doesn't need to assert her value. It's simply felt by everyone around her. This magnetic presence is not about boasting or performing. It's about being grounded in her own sense of self. The way she speaks, moves, and interacts with others radiates an energy that draws people in, not because she is seeking attention, but because she emanates a sense of inner peace and clarity. Confidence in a woman is magnetic because it signals strength, independence, and self-sufficiency. It says, I am enough exactly as I am, and that kind of energy is incredibly appealing. There's a grace in confidence, a quiet power that doesn't need to be loud or boastful to be noticed. It's the kind of confidence that allows a woman to walk into a room not seeking validation, but simply owning the space she occupies. When a woman is confident, she becomes an example of what is possible when we choose to step into our power without fear of judgment or rejection. It's not that a confident woman is immune to the challenges of life or the opinions of others, but rather she has learned to navigate the world with resilience and strength. She knows that her value is not determined by anyone's opinion but her own. This understanding gives her the freedom to show up as she is, fully, unapologetically, and without the need to conform to external expectations. One of the most magnetic aspects of a confident woman is her ability to make others feel at ease. Confidence doesn't just radiate from the individual, it also has a calming effect on those around her. When people are in her presence, they too feel empowered to be themselves. Confidence creates an atmosphere where others feel safe, where they can relax and let go of their own insecurities. This openness, this sense of acceptance, is incredibly alluring. It's magnetic because it allows others to feel seen and valued just as they are. Moreover, confidence also inspires trust. When a woman speaks with confidence, others listen. Her words carry weight, not because she is trying to persuade or convince, but because she speaks from a place of authenticity and truth. This is what makes a confident woman a natural leader, whether in personal relationships, at work, or in her community. Her confidence doesn't push people away. Instead, it invites them in, making them want to follow her example. However, it's important to note that confidence isn't about perfection or being fearless. It's about embracing the full spectrum of human experience, the good and the bad, the challenges and the successes, and still standing tall. Confidence comes from understanding that we are all imperfect, that we all make mistakes, and that our imperfections don't diminish our worth. A confident woman is not afraid to show up, even when she is unsure, because she understands that growth happens outside of the comfort zone. In romantic relationships, the magnetism of confidence is especially potent. A confident woman does not seek validation from others because she already knows her value. This makes her attractive, not because she is distant or unattainable, but because she is whole. She doesn't need anyone to complete her. She is already complete on her own. This sense of independence and self-sufficiency creates a dynamic that fosters mutual respect and admiration in relationships. It's a magnetic pull that doesn't demand attention, but instead draws people to her because they can see her strength and authenticity. Ultimately, the magnetism of confidence is not about being perfect or always having the answers. It's about owning who you are and showing up in the world with a sense of grace, strength, and acceptance. Confidence is magnetic because it invites others to step into their own power as well. It creates a ripple effect where those who encounter it are inspired to become more of who they truly are. A woman who embodies confidence does not just make an impression, she leaves a legacy, one of self-love, strength, and authenticity that others can't help but be drawn to. In a world that is constantly moving, constantly shifting, the impressions we leave on others are often fleeting. We meet hundreds of people in our lifetime, interact with them in countless ways, and yet very few moments and encounters leave a lasting mark. It's easy to forget the surface level exchanges, the simple conversations or the casual interactions, but there is something powerful that happens when someone makes a lasting impression. When their presence, their energy, or the way they move through the world stays with you long after they've walked away. For women, the ability to leave a lasting impression is one of the most remarkable qualities she can possess. But it's not necessarily about the grand gestures or the dramatic moments. No, the lasting impression is often built on the quiet, subtle ways in which a woman shows up in the world, how she makes people feel, how she navigates the challenges of life, and how she remains true to herself in all circumstances. It's these small yet profound qualities that create a ripple effect long after the encounter has ended. One of the most powerful ways a woman leaves a lasting impression is through the authenticity she brings to every interaction. When a woman is true to herself, when she embraces her own vulnerabilities and imperfections, she gives others permission to do the same. This authenticity is what people remember. It's what makes her stand out even in a crowd. The confidence to be fully present and fully herself without the need to hide behind a mask or put on a facade leaves an indelible mark on the people she meets. They may not always remember the exact words she said, but they will remember how she made them feel seen, heard, and valued. Lasting impressions aren't just made by words, they are created by energy, by the way someone carries themselves in the world. A woman who radiates kindness, compassion, and warmth leaves a powerful, enduring impression. People are drawn to her because of the safe space she creates around her. Her presence alone calms nerves, reassures the anxious, and makes others feel as if they are important. In a world that often feels disconnected, the simple act of showing genuine interest in others, of looking them in the eyes and truly listening, can create a lasting impact. Even in moments of struggle or challenge, a woman's resilience can leave a lasting impression. When life throws obstacles her way, it's not about avoiding hardship, but about how she responds to it. The way she meets adversity with grace, courage, and determination shows others that it is possible to face difficulty without losing oneself in the process. People notice when someone is able to remain grounded, hopeful, and full of integrity in the face of hardship. It's this strength, this unshakable core, that stays with others long after the challenge has passed. In romantic relationships, the lasting impression a woman leaves is often built on her emotional intelligence and her ability to be present with her partner. She does not hide behind walls or retreat when things get difficult. Instead, she shows up with vulnerability, openness, and a willingness to grow alongside her partner. This kind of emotional presence is not only memorable, but also transformative. It creates a depth of connection that lingers long after the relationship has ended, leaving behind a legacy of love, respect, and mutual understanding. In professional settings, a woman who leaves a lasting impression does so not just through her achievements or skills, but through her character. It's how she treats others, how she leads with empathy, and how she navigates difficult situations with integrity. A woman who fosters collaboration, who uplifts others, and who inspires those around her to be their best leaves an impression that goes far beyond any one interaction. Her leadership is not defined by power, but by influence, by the way she empowers others to rise with her. But perhaps the most lasting impression of all comes from the way a woman makes others feel about themselves. When she is kind, when she takes the time to acknowledge and appreciate those around her, she inspires others to be better versions of themselves. Her actions speak louder than any words she could say. A simple act of kindness, a thoughtful gesture, or a word of encouragement can resonate deeply with someone and stay with them for years to come. People may forget many things in life, but they rarely forget how someone made them feel, whether it was a kind smile on a difficult day or a moment of empathy during a time of pain. In a world that often values the superficial and fleeting, it is the deeper, more meaningful qualities that leave a lasting impression. The way a woman shows up in the world, her authenticity, her confidence, her vulnerability, and the energy she radiates creates connections that transcend the surface. These qualities are magnetic, drawing people in, not because she is seeking attention, but because she is unapologetically herself, embracing every part of who she is with grace and strength. When a woman is comfortable in her own skin, when she is real, when she leads with kindness and courage, she leaves an indelible mark on everyone she encounters. It's not the clothes she wears, the words she speaks, or the accolades she receives that define her legacy. It is the way she makes others feel, the way she inspires trust, creates safety, and fosters genuine connection. Her lasting impression is built on the foundation of her authenticity, her emotional intelligence, and her inner strength. As we move through life, let us all remember that it is not the surface level interactions that define us, but the deeper, more genuine exchanges we have with others. When we embrace the power of vulnerability, the magnetism of confidence, and the lasting impact of kindness, we create relationships that are authentic, meaningful, and built to last. It is these moments, these connections, that shape our lives and leave a legacy far beyond what we could ever imagine. So let us show up in the world with our full selves, knowing that it is our true essence, our energy, our strength, and our authenticity that will leave a lasting impression on everyone we meet. In doing so, we not only transform our own lives, but also the lives of those around us.